So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a video about on the topic of privilege. If you didn't hear that, on the topic of privilege. Yeah. So, as I'm sitting here on the bus and get the terrific Thursday, I'm just watching softball reruns. This time from the Big Ten, Minnesota versus Michigan softball 2019 Big Ten championship. As I'm watching this, it just makes me consistently reflect on, again, not only the hard work and dedication these young ladies consistently put in, all the time to, make things count, make the reps, go on and just shine in their biggest moments. For the reason why I make so many girl power and women's empowerment anthems, I want to let everybody know. The fact being, as I consistently also reflect on my own music career, I also want people to understand, when it comes to that topic, or really topic of privilege, as I started this whole thing off saying, I'm not ever saying that I didn't grow up with some privilege. I think we all did in the modern 21st century, and/or we all did, somewhere in life, somewhere in this world, we all grew up with some type of privilege. You know, think about it. Especially if you have, phones, let alone iPhones. You grew up with some type of privilege because it's right there in your hand. Not everybody has that, let alone not everybody can reasonably be able to afford and pay for it monthly and so on. So, I mean, I never tried to, say that I never grew up with any type of privilege, but I want people to understand that a lot of people try to pretend as if Nate grew up with all the privilege in the world or whatever else. Like, no, I went through some hardships. Not the same as everybody else in several different, cities, communities, states, and environments, hoods, and so on. But I know I grew up with definitely, yeah, indeed, some privileges, but also grew up with more humbleness than anything else, especially over the last 5 years. People don't understand. The best way, I guess, for me to balance out my privilege would be to tell people that my privilege don't affect me in terms of my character. My character has, for the longest time been very humble, outgoing, positively outspoken, sharing the good works of the Lord, sharing the good word of the Lord. So my privilege is not something that makes me who I am. I don't need this iPhone. I don't need these clothes. I don't need this house that I'm in. I don't need all this stuff. Now, obviously, for the, again, 21st modern century, in order to have a sustainable life, you definitely need most, if not everything I just named. But I want people to understand, because that's where a lot of people get so confused when they talk about me and my life. They think all this stuff makes me. They think because I got all this stuff, I shouldn't be complaining about this, I shouldn't be complaining about that. Here's the thing. There's a reason why I just said I don't need any of this stuff. This stuff does not define who I am. My character and my faith and my personality, those things define who I am. Okay, I don't need Under Armour to live. I can go and get the cheapest, whatever you were to call it, dollar store brand stuff if I really wanted to, or if I needed to, or whatever the case is. People need to understand that if you're gonna talk privilege with me, you need to understand what in God's name privilege even is, and how far I'm willing to go to prove to you what I do versus what I do not need, or do and do not want. People have to understand, for every dose of privilege that I might have, I have an equal amount, if not more, humbleness than anything. And that's why I believe that people like to reach on me when they say how I grew up and the things that I have physically. I'm thinking to myself, this phone don't make me. These shoes don't make me. What are you talking about? I'm so dang humble. I'm willing to go anywhere, almost everywhere, talk to anybody, get to know their life and how I can help them accomplish their goals from any hood, and help them clean up their environment step by step with the good Lord which strengthens me. That's how my life is lived. That's my purpose, and how I go about my daily life for the most part. If not just what I believe in. And that's what people need to understand. We all grew up privileged or appropriately privileged in some type of way. But don't let that privilege make you who you are, where you always think you're better than people because of all this physical, material stuff that you obtain. I never thought that for 1 second, that I was better than somebody because of the physical, material stuff that I was able to attain. I just thought that definitely my character speaks louder than my words with, hey, I'm not that selfish. I'm mostly selfless. It's my character that makes me. That's what it is. My character is my personality. It's all those real and powerful, things you can't put a price tag on that makes me who I am, that defines me as a person, and so on. It's not all any of this material stuff. And people keep on confusing that with me with the topic of privilege to say I'm so privileged and so on and so on with people out there who didn't grow up with this, didn't grow up with that. Here's the thing. I'm not afraid to go out there and talk to those same people who didn't grow up with half of what I grew up with, have those conversations, and live amongst them for a little while, or do what I can to as well help them get to where I'm at. So don't talk to me about privilege unless you're going to talk to me about how humble I am towards what I have. That's simple as that. Do not talk to me about privilege, unless you're willing to talk to me about how humble I am with what I have and outgoing I am with what I have to help and serve other people. This material stuff, and I'll say it again, none of this material stuff makes me. Not a single last bit of it. I don't need any of it. I can go out there and rock the same dollar store brands that everybody else in certain communities have. If that's what I got to do to prove to certain people that Nate don't really have privilege like that, or if he does, he's humble about it and he's not using it as an excuse to say he's better than this person and better than that person. This material stuff don't make me better than nobody. It doesn't. It's your personality and your character that sets everybody apart. That's what, especially in the eyes of God, if you were to ask me, that's what separates everybody apart. What's in your heart, the fruits of which you bear. This material stuff at the end of the day in God's eyes can mean two hill bills of beans. Wow, the phrase I tried to use there, but I didn't know how to say it. You get the point, or hopefully you get the point. None of this material stuff makes me. It never did. But people keep on confusing that when they talk to me, like I care about all this material stuff that I am blessed and fortunate to have. Of course I want to take care of it, and of course God blessed me with this stuff for a reason, but that doesn't mean that any of this stuff makes me and I think I'm better than anybody for it. No. It's my personality and my character and the fruits of which I bear that separates me from other people, with how I talk about it and how I want to help other people and how I want to encourage and support other people. That's what makes you who you are. None of this material stuff, etc., etc. And like I said before, especially when the topics of, priesthood and pastors and church and so on and so on. I hope if you don't learn it from me and what I'm saying, hopefully one of your favorite pastors or whoever else can explain to you the difference between, what type of stuff truly makes you versus what's a luxury to have, and et cetera, et cetera. Because I don't think it's too hard to understand what I just explained in this video, but I understand for some people it still might go flying colors over their head. But I won't peep, because for example, because my family tree is rooted in Mississippi, right? I am from, or at least from the conversation that I had with my dad last night, I am from, I'm born and raised here in Florida, let alone Jacksonville, Florida. And I want people to understand, yes, I'm from Mississippi in a sort of way of like I have family roots, family ties there, but I'm not from there in terms of being born and raised there, and I understand Mississippi's economy isn't the best. I think it's top 5 with, poverty or something like that. But I want people to understand, I'm not against going to places like Mississippi and seeing where I can help out anytime, any place, anywhere, according to God's will and God's plan for my life. But I'm not going to force myself there to help out when I feel like God has blessed me where I am here in Jacksonville in Florida with problems of our own in my own backyard. That's what people have to understand. I have no problem going over to lesser income hoods and trying to mentor those kids. No problem doing that. But every time at times turn on the news or do my research about what's going on in my own backyard, my own state, and so on and so on, I have my own work to do right here in my own state, in my own city, to cure so many different, issues and et cetera, As you hear about it in several songs about me doing my part to help cure violence and so on. I got so many things in my own state, to focus on first before I, can make my roundabouts to other cities and other states. So, it has a lot to do with homage, knowing who you are, where you're from, and what to do with where you're going in Christ's name. Hope everybody understands that. If I just shoot another one, I will. But God bless for now. Your boy, man, NJ2TheCity, out. Peace.